get started. All right, everyone. So today I'm going to cover one more important topic, which is on the user's access side. So I'm going to cover today user access policies. So let's first discuss what user access policy is all about. Often we get a requirement like whenever a user record is been created in Salesforce or whenever a user record is been updated in Salesforce, we need to do some actions. When I say some actions, for example, we might get a scenario like whenever a user record gets created in a Salesforce, we need to assign a permission set or a permission set group to that particular user record. Or we might get a scenario that whenever a user record is updated, we might need to revert some permission set or a PSG, or from a public group or from a queue, we might need to remove a user. That's some of the common requirements that we get in our project. Now, what we used to do before this is we used to write triggers or we used to write flows for handling this kind of a requirement. But now Salesforce have come up with a new feature called user access policy, via which we don't need to write any single line of code. It's a low code mechanism or a no code mechanism or tool via which we can achieve this. So let's see in action how we can do this. So first thing that we need to do is, this is my Salesforce org, and in my Salesforce org, we first need to go to the user management settings option. In user management setting option, you will get an option here called user access policy. So we need to first toggle this particular settings. This is the first step that needs to be done as a prerequisite. So once this is done, we will go to this particular thing called user access policy. We will be seeing this option called user access policy whenever we will be searching this in the setup. Now, before going into this user access policy, let's just keep the context ready. So what I have done right now is I have created one permission set called test, and in this permission set right now, if I go to view summary, right, so it will give us the permission set details to what are the relevant permission set groups, user permissions, object permissions, what are the things which are available. Now if I go to the permission set again and let's go to manage assignment, so it will show us to which particular users currently this permission set is assigned. So currently I see this is assigned to my user, right? Now if I go to this permission set, another important thing which I want to show you right now is, if I go to this object settings right now and if I consider any objects, for example account, one important update which has come up as a part of Spring 25 is, we right now in the object permission see a new settings called view all fields. Previously this was not there. So what this does is, we might get a requirement like we need to provide a read-only access or a read-only FLS to all the fields present on this object. So for that, what we can do is, we can simply come to this particular object. Right now you can see all the fields are unchecked. Now if I click on this view all the fields gets a read-only FLS on this. So this is a new feature which has come up as a part of Spring 25 release, which I just wanted to touch base since I am on this permission set page. So now one thing that I have showed you is this permission set test is assigned to my user, and this is the public group page that we have in our org, and I have created a dummy or a demo public group right now in this particular org. Now with this context, let's go to the user access policies. So this is the user access policy screen that we have. Let's click on new and let me create a let's say a demo policy. Okay, let's give an order. We can give any order as per our choice, and this is the screen that we get into, right? So now let's go to the edit criteria page. So what we will be doing here is, let's consider a scenario like whenever the user permission set equals say test, right, and whenever the user active status or active flag is true, what we will be doing is we will be kind of adding this user to a public group, and this is the public group that we have created. So suppose this is the action that we have kind of created. Now the moment we do this, we see here this two button gets enabled, right? So one is apply policy and one is automate policy. So if I click on this automate policy, what it does is it shows us when this policy will run. So we right now have three conditions. One is on create, one is on update, and another is create or update. So let me choose create or update. And we also have one more option or one more button in that same screen called this apply policy. Now what does this apply policy does is, if we have a requirement, it's like a one-time activity. Let's consider like in our org we already have some users who are satisfying this criteria that we have provided or specified. Now if we have to run this policy for them in one shot, then what we can do is we can simply click on apply policy. So let's do that. So let's click on this apply policy. It shows for which user this which are the users which is satisfying this criteria that we have provided. So it's my user, and I just write apply to selected users, right? And let's click on done. So now with this understanding, if I just go to my user record, what should happen is I should see under my name I will be assigned to this public group. So you see here, so I get assigned to this public group. Now again in the same way, if I kind of change this policy, in order to change this policy I need to deactivate it, and let me kind of just change the policy to revoke this user whenever this criteria satisfies. So let me just run this or change it to revoke, and that's all. And let me just apply the policy again. Let's apply it to this user, and the moment I do this, if I refresh this, my user should not be in this particular view. So as we see here, I no longer belong to this particular group. So this is all about the user access policy which I wanted to cover today. Thank you, thanks for watching, and one humble request to you all, please like, share and subscribe my channel. This will give me an immense satisfaction as well as confidence. Looking forward to you all.